Welcome back to Breakfast Television. Well, we're about to dig into some dynamite samplings and what can be found at this weekend's Alberta Palaeontological Society conference. It's free for the public. It takes place this Saturday at Mount Royal. And I'm being joined this morning by Dr. Jon Noad. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so what can people experience at the conference this weekend?
Okay, well, there's a whole bunch of talks. I think there's about 10 talks on dinosaurs, fossil birds, fossil mammals, and fossil sharks as well.
All right, so if you're fascinated by dinosaurs and these animals and how that translates to modern life as well, this is the place for you. So you've brought along some items here. Let's start here right in front of me here. And what is this a footprint of?
So this is a footprint of a Dilophosaurus. It lived about 100 million years ago, and it's the dinosaur from Jurassic Park that had the crest on its head, and it would fire out the poison, and we don't know that for sure. But this is definitely a footprint from one of those animals, and this is a cast that I made a few years ago.
The Velociraptor, the scary dinosaur, and that's the point of reference here, so if we tip it, we can actually see it. And what's exciting to you about an item like this?
Well, footprints can tell you so much about how the animals behave, their size, the weight of the animal, or even the speed that they were traveling at. So they're very useful in terms of providing extra information.
And what do you look at when you're looking for extra information on a print like this?
I'd be looking to try and see whether what it can tell us about how the animal lived. And that's my interest in paleontology, is using traces, tracks, burrows, and other things like that to try and build up an idea of how the animal lived back in the ancient times.
What would indicate that this animal is fast?
The depth of the footprint. And if you had a whole set of footprints, you'd be looking to see how far apart those footprints were. So the faster it was running, the more ground it was covering, the further apart the footprints.
Fascinating. Okay, on to something that has a link to our province here.
Okay, so this is an Albertasaurus tooth. It's got this serrated edge. It was obviously a fantastic predator, probably about 30 feet long, something like that. And there's several talks at the conference that are on dinosaurs, and the talks are really styled for the public, so they're not too technical. There's a lot of stuff that's very accessible to anyone who's interested in paleontology.
Okay, and as a geologist, what would you see with this tooth?
Well, the way that the tooth is, the size of the tooth, the character of the tooth, how sharp it is, tells you whether it's a meat eater or a plant eater. So they all provide very useful information paleontologically.
Okay, and this is a great learning opportunity for kids that might be interested.
It is, and there's lots of specialists there. They're all very accessible, so they're happy to chat to the public as well and tell people what's going on with paleontology in Alberta.
Excellent. And on to the next here. This is a little more modern.
Yeah, so this animal's about less than 1 million years old. It's a fossil lobster. And the reason I brought this one in is because lobsters, they produce a lot of trackways, and they make enormous burrows. So if you're looking in the fossil record and you were to see a burrow, then you might not know initially what it was, but by comparing them with the more modern animals, then you can start building up a picture of how they lived.
Okay, and how old would a fossil like this be?
So this one is maybe 500,000 years old. It's from northern Australia.
Is that young in reference?
It is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so these dinosaurs are around 70 to 90 million years old, whereas this fellow here is a lot younger.
Just a young one, 500,000 years old. Okay, and on to your last item here, and this is from a bird?
Yes, so we've got a bird footprint here that came from Utah, and that's around 100 million years old. And what's nice about it is it's beautifully preserved, and you can get an idea of how big the bird was. And then sitting on there, we have a shark tooth as well. And there's one talk at the conference about Alberta about 70 million years ago, and how some of the parts of Alberta were very close to an ancient seaway. So there was sharks living in that seaway and interacting with the dinosaurs. So there'll be a talk on sharks as well.
Sharks in Alberta.
Sharks in Alberta.
Fascinating. Okay, where can people find more information on this?
So the Alberta Palaeontological Society has a website, albertapaleo.org, so you can look on there. They've got a full list of all the talks. Don't feel you have to come all day. You can come along for part of the day and just enjoy a fossil fest.
A fossil fest. Fossil festivities at the Jenkins Theatre, Mount Royal University. Saturday is the main event between 9 and 5, followed by a special symposium on the Sunday as well. So what's the talk on the Sunday, the workshop?
On Sunday, there's a workshop on brachiopods, which are an interesting type of bivalve animal.
Hey, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I think we learned something this morning.